Hello, everyone. And live from Vienna, Austria, it's Saturday morning. Congratulations, everybody. Here, at least in Vienna, we have made it through almost an entire week of the policies of remaining at home. So I know these policies are reaching a lot of you in the English speaking countries that watch this show. I just want to witness to you that it's okay. Of course, it's true that I actually was practicing social distancing for professional reasons before it became cool to social distance. I just want to say that I was ahead of that. I was like maybe perhaps the trend setter about that. Anyway, I was a little nervous because I am doing this without assistance today, and I wasn't sure if I would be able to pull it off. As usual, I have some technical issues. But anyway, here we are. I'm glad to see everybody. It is the weekend, right in the middle of Lent, of the bringing out of the cross. So I wanted to suggest some stay at home, little rituals that might sound silly to some of you people, but I try to do things uh, besides the texts, that we read as whatever our prayer rule is. Um, I try to include some little processions. I have a very small apartment, but I do things like I take out the cross. I'm going to be doing it. I've done it before on various occasions, not because churches were closed, but just so that I bring out the cross and have a special cross. I'm going to show you now how I do this. You see, I have this right now, the cross before the time for vigil. Because, see, at vigil for the Sunday of the cross is brought out of the sanctuary by the clergy and then placed in the center of the church. So I have a special cross in this box. The box, I happened to find this box. It used to be in another kind of little box, this cross. Anyway, I found this box. I think somebody gave me like a Christmas present in this box at some point. So I'm going to do a little procession from, I have two rooms, right? Does this interest anybody? I'm going to go from one room with the cross. You see, the cross is inside for now. It has to be brought from one place to another for this to be a ritual that speaks to, that whole tradition of bringing out the cross. So, see, Father Taft actually gave me this cross. It wasn't like a very significant moment. He used to try to get rid of his stuff, things that people gave him. So he would get rid of stuff and just, he'll be like, here, you want this? So because he was planning to move back to the States, in the last period of his, living in Rome, where he lived for 42 years. Anyway, so he gave me this cross. I was like, sure, I'll take this cross. It's like a hanging up cross. So anyway, what I would do, and I'm going to do it this evening, my friends, is I'm going to do it right now in front of you, okay? So that I just want to share this, idea. Um, I'm going to sing the Troparion of the Cross, Save, O Lord, your people. Or I don't sing it in English. Sorry if that's not the way, you sing it. I see somebody's messaging me. My friends don't watch this show, a lot of them, so they start messaging me right when I'm in the middle of the show, and they're not messaging me about the show. That's always going to be true. Like if you're a writer or you are a creative person of some sort, or maybe a scholar, many of you might know that your closest friends and family will have very little to do with all of that somehow. That's just the way it happens. Anyway, all right, so what am I trying to tell you? So I will sing the Troparion, Spasi Господи, люди твоя. And then, as I'm doing it here on the show, I wanted to show you that you could put up flowers, or if you're a family, you have several folks in the house, you all sing the Troparion together. Somebody's in charge of, say, if you're able to get flowers. We have flowers in our supermarket that is open. Anyway, so you sing the Troparion and then the Kontakion. That's the way it's done when the cross is initially brought out by the priest. So you sing the troparion, "И благослови достояние твое." I've changed the tone. Победы православным христианам на сопротивные даруя, и Твое сохраняя крестом Твоим жительство. So then everybody sings glory and now and ever. I know the text of this troparion is a little bit different in different churches. Why? Because it used to mention the emperors when we had emperors. So then you sing "Вознеслися на крест волею." You have elevated yourself willfully onto the cross. A beautiful kontakion that, of course, I wouldn't be seated doing this. It's because of technical issues of doing the show for you people that I'm seated. And then you would, the kontakion that ends with the words, «Вознесися на крест волею, те за именитому твоему новому жительству, щедроты твои». I should have prepared the text, I know, in English, but I didn't. «Пособие имущим твое оружие мира, непобедимую победу». So, the cross at the end of the troparion, just bear with me, everybody. We'll get through this, okay? I wanted to chat with you even though I wasn't very ready to do so. I didn't want us not to chat today. I know it's a difficult time for people. And as Governor Cuomo said in New York, I really loved his press conference, by the way. It's not a right or left thing. I just thought that he was very on top of the problem. He said it's this amount of time that this epidemic is going to last. Do we know how much this amount of time is? We don't, but it is just a period of time. So whatever it takes, we're going to get through it. Why? Well, for one thing, because Christians are cross carriers, right? We walk through things. So I love that at the end of this kontakion, the cross is called a weapon of peace. It's in the Greek. It's at the final words of the troparion are that talking about that we Christians are given this weapon of peace. Oplon irinis. And then aititon tropaion, an invincible trophy, but a weapon of peace. This, antinomy, that the cross is both a weapon, but is all about peace, I think is very nourishing. It's a very life-giving kind of fact or truth of our faith that we are both protected. We're protected also, my friends, in our psychological and spiritual health, which experts have also been warning that take care of your spiritual health, take care of your psychological health right now, because, and be supportive of one another. We can't see each other. I haven't seen anyone face to face since last Sunday, my friends, which, again, it's not always that uncommon to me, to my lifestyle. I'm sort of a loner. But nonetheless, there is, of course, a discomfort to knowing that you can't, even if you wanted to, meet up with people. So I think that what we're given to contemplate this weekend, I want to see what you people are saying. But you see, I have to turn this off because my friends continue to try to message me. I do a Saturday show, guys. See, the whole world does not rotate around my schedule for some reason. That's annoying me today. One second. I'm not seeing myself in the proper time. Like I'm seeing a delayed picture, and I'm wondering how I get to see myself normally. Anyway, all right, so I'm going to see what you people are saying, and then I want to discuss with you a few other ideas of bringing out a cross, as we have just put up, in procession. If you're a family, think about somebody being the candle holder, that you can process. The main thing is you go from one room into another and put the cross in a place different from where it was before. Okay? Because then you sort of retain that solemn moment of bringing out the cross. Okay? So don't do it at home the way I did it for the show, because for technical reasons I did it that way. Or on Wednesdays and Fridays, when you have, you're not having the liturgy of presanctified gifts if your church is closed, but Wednesdays and Fridays you would have it, and a lot of people love that liturgy. By the way, just yesterday I put up a recording of this little choir that I used to conduct in the Munich Cathedral of the Rocourt of the New Martyrs, and that's from the Liturgy of Presanctified Gifts. Check it out if you want to listen. I know there's a lot of church music recordings online, so I'm just saying my 2 cents contributed this week for your listening enjoyment is that recording. It's on this Coffee with Sister Vasa YouTube channel. Anyway, I think it's a nice piece. It's the Katevthinthito, it's the Da ispravitsa, let my prayer be set forth or arise before you like incense, in the middle of the Vespers liturgy of the Presanctified. But I wanted to share with you another little idea about Wednesdays and Fridays that I do, even though I live alone, so I don't, nobody sees if it's silly that I do it this way. But now I'm telling you people. I light a candle. I happen to buy these candles are the ones that happen to be sold in our supermarket. It's a small supermarket, but we have everything we need. There's plenty of toilet paper, even though Vienna has been, it's one of the most extreme, cases right now, because Vienna's a very international city, blah, blah, blah. But, I think people are trying their best. Anyway, so on a Wednesday or Friday, this Wednesday and Friday, I came out from my other room into this room. I lit the candle, and you know the way the priest says in the middle of the Liturgy of Presanctified, in between the two Old Testament readings, he comes out of the altar or sanctuary and says, the Phos Christou, he says, Sviet, the light of Christ enlightens all. So, and he makes the sign of the cross. So that's what I do. And then I go back into the other room with the candle and I put it down. It might sound silly, but at least I have that moment that I love in the Liturgy of Presanctified. I have it over here. Is anybody listening to this? My friends, who is with me? I want to say hello to you. I want to say hello to you, and I want to see that you're well. John Laodicean, my friend. Amy Bastock, hello to you, lovely people. Marcy Shore, James Armstrong, and Tasha. Tasha's with us again. I think you were here last week, weren't you? It's nice to see you again. Oh, Light of Christ is with us. I was just talking about the Light of Christ. See, I was talking about you and I didn't know that you were here. So it's good to see you. Welcome. Robert Herman. Yes, I'm doing fine. I am doing fine. I feel a little bit, of course, I feel other people's stress. I'm concerned about some of my friends around here. I really live in Vienna, in that I walk at least in my little neighborhood. I did say that I am a loner, but I know some of the business owners, there's a restaurant owner where there's this falafel place, and sometimes I meet there with Anya, but sometimes I go there myself. It's this Israeli family, these Jewish people from Tel Aviv, not the religious type, the type from Tel Aviv, that run the restaurant, and I'm friends with them, and this is really a disaster for them, So I am concerned about the fallout for some people. For me, this is for my business, if you could call this a business, this is like high season for me, More people are signing up to my weekly podcast, the daily. We have a podcast on patreon.com. If you are interested, people are signing up. We have a vibrant community there. People comment. We do, cover the liturgical moment of each day. It's always about half an hour, right? And so you get in this brief podcast some reflection on daily scripture, where we are in Lent, and, because churches are closed, maybe this could be a useful thing. It does cost a little bit of money, but it's $5 for a whole month. It really isn't a lot of money, but I also have to survive somehow. You do know that no institution, whether ecclesial or academic, supports me at all. I don't work anywhere except for on this online mission. So, this is why there are things that we provide for money. And I say we, usually meaning me, the royal we. But no, I do have several assistants. Sometimes I have fewer, depending on who's been fired most recently of these kids or who's left me. Anyway, at this point, to support us, we provide, monetized podcasts. But if you're interested, do sign up, look into it. Patreon, Patreon. I did not prepare you have to prepare these graphics that you put in. Oh, actually, maybe I do have that here from an old. One second, I could put the link up. I'm going to tell you some more interesting things besides plugging something. All right, that's the link. Think about it. Check it out. You might find this useful. It's called Morning Coffee, the podcast, available at this link. All right, anyway, I was continuing to say hello to you, and I'm going to just tell you a bunch of things today about this situation of a city in lockdown. All right, I'll share some of my stories from this week, and that'll be it. I want to hear what you're saying. So I didn't say hello yet to, who was I up to? Yes, I did say hello to Robert Herman, did I? Or perhaps not. You're asking if I'm avoiding the paparazzi. Well, I'm trying to not to get arrested, frankly, because I really cherish, and now I just, I do like my daily routine, but if you work from home, as many of you are discovering now, I don't know if you've done it before, but you are really challenged about self-discipline, So you cling sometimes more rigidly than others would. That's why I think monasticism has a very rigid daily schedule, because they all are working from home. And if you let up on the daily schedule, then you completely fall apart, So anyway, I rigidly will go out for my power walk, for example. And from one day to the next, the rules of this, what's the policy called? Are they saying shelter in place or something like that? Or is home is better? What are they saying in California? Anyway, the policies changed from day to day and became stricter. So I wasn't aware, for example, I'm alone. Excuse me, it's not, I don't think so anyway, the virus. I'm itching my nose. It's very not elegant, sister. I know. Sorry. One second. So here's my fun story. I wasn't aware, and it still doesn't make sense to me, that you're not supposed to stand in place. You're allowed to go out for a jog or a walk, but you can't stand in place. So I did stop, not for a long time, but literally it was like for a few seconds I had stopped, because I do take pictures, so then I have something to share for my daily reflection, a picture. So I was standing there maybe for 30 seconds, texting. I had to text something. Probably I was sharing this picture that I just took. And a police van, because police vans were patrolling the paths along the Danube Canal, which is where I take my walk. I walk for about, I tell you about this all the time, but I walk for over an hour, like about 40 minutes in one direction to a certain birch tree. That's how I know how long I've walked. And then I walk around that tree and back. Anyway, so the police that day were patrolling, this was like a few days ago, these, sort of bike lanes or walker lanes in these vans, but they weren't getting out. They had loudspeakers in the car, and I heard them saying something to other people, but I didn't know what was going on. So they drive up behind me, and I didn't know that they were actually saying something to me. And what they were saying was, Verweilen im Park ist nicht gestattet, which means lingering in the park is not allowed. So I was like, I didn't quite understand. First I said, was ist nicht gestattet? Well, what's not allowed? Verweilen, which was lingering, you know. And I was like, I wasn't even seated, you know, I was standing texting. So I saw other people seated. Anyway, then, and then they added, when I had asked the question, they answered that lingering is not allowed. And then they said, go home. Gehen Sie nach Hause. And I was like, oh, all right. Because the weather was really nice for 3 days. Now we're going to have bad weather all week and it's raining today, but all of the previous week, we really had nice weather. So I wasn't upset because really, I do cherish these people who are still working, like the police officers, the care workers, the health care professionals, you know, and people in the grocery store, the cashier there, the cashiers. Well, we have a small grocery store, so there's usually one. But God bless them all, you know, for being there so that the city somehow still functions. It does function. I mean, it's fine. Even this sort of CVS style pharmacy called it's called BIPA. It's confusing because Bila is the supermarket, BIPA is the sort of pharmacy place, but that's open as well. It's not just for, you know, medicines. It's for anything, you know, like toilet paper. Um, I'm just bragging that Vienna has it together, and we're not, you know, nobody's completely cleaning out every store of toilet paper. Um, yeah, so I wasn't upset about the police telling me to keep moving, right? My friend Daniel Galadza wrote me in a message because I was chatting with him via Messenger. He's like, well, that's like having a free, you know, like training coach, you know, like a physical fitness instructor. But I thought, too bad the police didn't take the opportunity to be witty and say, you know, because I wear a Yankee cap when I do my power walk. I regretted that they didn't say, you know, Yankee go home. That's what they should have said. Would have been funny. Anyway, they didn't. Okay, what are you guys saying? So that happened, and okay. Greetings to all of you, my friends. Paul Anufri, good morning. Ron, did I say hi to you, Ron McBride? Greetings from South Dakota, he says. You know, I started this podcast on a different stream, and for some reason I started saying that it's the weekend of St. Gregory Palamas, so that's why I ended it and I started another stream, because it's like, I don't know. Don't worry. You are not witnessing, not yet, my descent into madness. It's week 1 and we're fine. And we're all going to get through it together. Denise, hello. Vicky McNamara, hello to Vicky in Dallas, Texas. Alaskan Mom, greetings from Alaska, Sister Vasa. Hello, Alaskan Mom. Thanks for joining us today. Paul Anufri. I already mentioned Paul, didn't I? He says that he has the same icon that I have up here. Yes, this icon was given to me by Father Jim up in Edmonton, New York. I hope he's okay. He's a wonderful, you know, elderly priest. He's not that elderly. If he's watching this, he'll be like, thanks. Well, just be careful, anybody over 60, you know. I know you're not old people. 60 is the new, what is it, the new 50? Lisa, hello. Lisa Lascaris. Simon Schaefer, hello, or is it Schaffer? Have I been saying it wrong? Anyway, hi, Simon. Hello, he says, from Ohio. Great to be here. Well, it's great to see all you people indeed. I am very glad to be with you once again. Pamela Kelly, hello from Southern California. You hang in there, Pam. And we're going to be all washing our hands and being good, right? You know, I was thinking about a lot of these things. You see, these wipes, I actually haven't been using them that much because, you know, I have the same, like, disinfectant that's on the wipes in a spray bottle. So I think it's more just practical and economical to be, spraying the door handles and using the paper towels, which we also have enough of at this point. Glory be to God. Um, so I was thinking that, these are healthy habits that I really didn't realize I should have been doing all along. I never would take extra care to keep my computer keyboard wiped and clean. Sometimes it would get, quite dirty. And like, doorknobs, I've been wiping those off, but I realized that I really have never done that. But about having a rigorous, as much as possible, of course, if you have your small children at home or not so small children at home, all of this is more challenging. Nonetheless, to have, a schedule of some sort is really helpful because with the cleaning, I find, that because it's not something that I would be constantly doing, or not doing as often anyway, um, I didn't have like a proper schedule for the cleaning. So I found it started throughout the course of this week that it started to you know, throw me off or interrupt my work, like when I'm writing or when I'm reading and when I'm supposed to finish writing a certain thing, whether I'm preparing for the daily podcast, or, I'm working on this article that I was asked to contribute to some volume. Anyway, I can't be always cleaning because there's always going to be something that you can clean again. You know what I'm saying? So I tried to do some more intense cleaning on a Friday. I shared about it on my Friday podcast, the Patreon podcast. I said, why don't we look at Friday, because it is called Paraskevi, the day of preparation, as preparing for a certain amount of rest, because for, over the weekend, because the Paraskevi, it's called Preparation Day, Friday, because you're preparing so that you don't do work on the Sabbath, in ancient times. That was the purpose of a Friday was, was so that your work doesn't interrupt that rest, right? Like the Orthodox Jews, that the housewives will be preparing all sorts of things like food so that they don't cook on the Sabbath. I think it's an instructive kind of truth in general, that, of course, you do need your rest. You do need, now, if you're working from home, to, to maintain a healthy kind of schedule, which, for both work and rest, and, also to keep these, these healthy habits, to flatten the curve, to help flatten the curve, to keep the place clean. I know I haven't seen all of your comments yet. Oh, Robert Herman is in Poughkeepsie. Oh, okay. Well, hello to you in Poughkeepsie, although I've seen another of your messages already. Paul Reedy says, Happy Mid-Lent. Great to see home demos of liturgy. Cherry Chapman, happy you were able to start again with success. Yes, I started again. How are you, Cherry? Thomas Malley, good morning from Central Mississippi. I am currently being brought into the Catholic Church, he says, but greatly love and revere the Orthodox Church as well, and still attend their services at times. Love you. Oh, that's great to hear, Thomas Malley. So, were you like a Protestant of some brand before you decided to enter into the Roman Catholic Church? Anyway, welcome. I'm glad you've joined us. Oh, Alexandra's here. Oh, guess what? This is my sister calling me. Why? Because she has no idea that I do a show on Saturdays. So I'm live right now, Танюш. Я сейчас не могу говорить. Я потом позвоню. Okay. So, see, I told you, they're just oblivious. My family is oblivious to anything that goes on at coffee headquarters, which is fine. I love them, but it's sometimes amusing. So Alexandra, yes, Alexandra is with us. She is uh, what are you, Alexandra? A neurologist. There, I got it out right. She's a neurologist, so she's a healthcare, medical professional. Thank you for your service. And uh, should I tell them about little Andreas? I don't know. Maybe I will. Marcy Shore is saying hello to Alexandra. Salam Irini Awad. Oh, salam. Uh, hello, Sister Vasa from Greece. Hello, right back at you from here. Lynn Tomlinson, I saw you in my normal place for 102, then you went away. Ron sent me this link. Yeah, I know, Lynn. I'm sorry. I did start in a different place. Then I started a new stream. I was embarrassed that I started saying that this is the Sunday of Gregory Palamas. Anyway, I didn't have to announce that mistake on this video. It defeats the purpose of starting again, doesn't it? So it's good to see you here, Lynn. Jose Reynaldo de Lima Lopez. Oh boy, we have people with beautiful names here today. Hello, Jose, from Brazil, Sao Paulo. How are you doing down there? Cornell Tattoo. Hello, Cornell. Why do you don't try singing in English? Oh, well, the reason I didn't try singing in English, Cornell, is that I don't know the text in English and I didn't prepare it. It's a simple response to that. I will try next time to prepare better. That's why I like to pre-record the video. I think it's easier to watch for those. Most people watch it later. You nice folks show up for the live thing. In fact, we have a lot of live viewers today. Well over 100 I'm seeing. So welcome to any new live viewers. About the daily schedule and the challenges, of working from home, I think it's interesting that all along Lent has sort of had these elements like, focusing on the liturgy of the hours rather than the divine liturgy, which is suppressed during Lenten weekdays. So keeping track of your hourly schedule it's something that's embedded in the liturgical tradition. The liturgical tradition is specifically, geared towards time management, really. Time management in God's way. So a way of looking at time, finding meaning in every hour of the day, literally. But when we talk about liturgical hours, we're talking about sundial hours. So an hour on the sundial, like the third hour, the sixth hour, the ninth hour, this is an approximation of about 3 hours, of the day. So anyway, these hours are expressing, in any event, the principle that we should be praying incessantly. And so Lent is, because it's very influenced by monastic daily schedules, that our typicon is a creation of monastic culture. And it's a helpful instrument, I think, to take a new look at the way we spend time. And, the other thing about Lent, that it was already calling us to a certain different kind of vigilance about our food choices, which, a lot of people sort of see as some kind of a medieval, for some reason, hypocritical, unnecessary, external thing. Not appreciating that vigilance with respect to food is also a necessary discipline, right? When we're not paying attention to our food choices, we're not always in a good place, when we're just eating whatever happens to be, on our way to work or grabbing a sandwich or whatever. Long term, It's not very good. But what's happening with the coronavirus epidemic, I find, is that these habits that we're acquiring of the distance, you have to, when I'm on my power walk, people walk apart, except if they're millennials, they'll like try to come up really close to you because they're entitled, I guess. I'm being mean about millennials again. Um, People generally are distancing, like going out of their way to keep that meter of over a that distance of over a meter. Anyway, but I find that you're noticing these little things that you do. You're noticing that oh, am I touching my face? Things that you never noticed before, and you're noticing with care anything that you touch, and in any surface, any object. You're washing your hands often. So I think that these external disciplines that are necessary right now for the safety of others and yourself are an additional, I think, form of the Lenten vigilance now. That's just the way I see it. Then also the sort of exile we're experiencing from church services, well, that is also already a Lenten kind of abstinence from receiving Holy Communion because of the suppression of divine liturgy. And, actually, the history of the Liturgy of the Presanctified Gifts, which I have a copy of Stephanos Alexopoulos' book, Father Stephanos Alexopoulos. He's the one who wrote the book about the Liturgy of the Presanctified, and somewhere in my chaos, I have the book. So this is the book. Anyway, this book, which I wasn't even going to talk about today, the Presanctified Liturgy in the Byzantine Rite, shows us that actually, even though one presumes that we have the Presanctified Liturgy so as to give people the opportunity to receive the gifts during the week, people would not approach, actually, through most of the centuries of the development of this liturgy at, at a typical cathedral, would not commune on, at the Liturgy of Presanctified Gifts. But there is a very prominent moment of just, I would say, Eucharistic adoration at that liturgy, because during the entrance with the Presanctified Gifts, there is a great prostration that everybody does. And the priest goes just in silence. This is like a Eucharistic adoration that happens in silence. But what point am I making? The point I'm making, my beloved viewers, is that it seems that our Lent, as I said last week, has been intensified. The various aspects of exile, of being a little bit excommunicated, have been intensified, I think, by something that's beyond our control. We can, join the effort, if we haven't yet, to contain or flatten that curve, the spike, in the cases of the virus. But, whether we like it or not, we're being, I think, disciplined. We're being disciplined. So I have, made this suggestion first and foremost to myself. Also in the rising up to the challenge, my friends, rising up to the challenge, not to be either in denial or in disappointment about this epidemic. It's, one can slip into the disappointment. Oh, this, that, and the other thing have been canceled. Our pilgrimage to Jerusalem has not been canceled, but it's been postponed. Several conferences that I was really looking forward to in different countries coming up in the next few months have been canceled. So I want to just accept that, So you sit down and you just say, according to the words of philosophers of our time, it is what it is. All right? It is what it is. So we can pick up tools in the tradition like the ethos of fasting and like the various other, you know, instruments of time management, like the Liturgy of the Hours. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Insofar as my little contribution to the topic, I have a YouTube video called Praying the Hours as a Layperson. So you can pray the hours without, I suggest a certain method of praying the hours. If you don't have the type of family life or schedule where you would actually read the whole services of the hours, there's a way in which one can just also sing. If you live alone, if you're isolated, sing, sing the main troparion of each hour. Like for about the 3 hours, if you're not doing something else, like say reading another service or writing or reading, if you're free to sing, you could just say in the time period that is prime or the first hour, pierwszy czas, right, which would be, I don't know when everybody wakes up, but before the time period, say between 6 or 7 in the morning up until like 9, because 9 already will be beginning the 3 hour period that is known liturgically as the third hour, excuse me. So anyway, the troparion of the first hour is very brief. Заутро услышу глас мой, царю мой и Боже мой. In the morning, hear my voice, my King and my God. All right, so excuse the translation if it's awkward, but that little verse, it informs the beginning of your day. Say you're making your coffee or your matcha tea. This is matcha tea. I don't want to spill it on my computer, but it does take some getting used to, my friends, but now I really do love it. So, you can, these troparia of the hours, again, check out that video. I also posted it on the homepage of our website. You could check it out there. Praying the Hours as a Layperson. One second. Here's the website, and I will remove the Patreon link. That's our website. Check it out. It's getting redesigned, by the way, so you can also sign up at this website for the daily reflection email. So it's free. Sign up for that if you want. We're also offering video chats with me to people who feel like they want a friendly ear, someone to talk to if you're alone. It's also a way to support our online mission. People are signing up for this as well. Video chats, check it all out. Available, you could chat with me face to face if you're interested in having, a friendly conversation. Anyway, with this business of praying the hours, you can, instill into your day constructive kind of, not only a constructive kind of learning process of managing to get some order in your house. I think it's just instructive to pick up these tools. And number one, in the first hour, it's simply opening up the channels of, connection with God when you're recognizing God as your King and your God, because sometimes we play God ourselves, right? Or we create authorities in our own mind when we have, that we shouldn't sometimes, that we tend to start serving in some, say, codependency situation or whatever, you know what I'm talking about, that we want to recognize God as our primary employer, right? And authority. So saying to God in the morning, in the morning, hear my voice, my King and my God, puts me in the right space, and recognizes who my boss is. And then the other, focal points of the other hours are all connected to certain moments, important moments in salvation history. So besides the fact that Vespers, the big hours, Vespers and Matins, also have their commemorations, like also historical commemorations, right? The little hours, which is what I'm talking about, um, underline specific other moments in salvation history. So, for example, the third hour, I know that most of you know this, but bear with me. I'll get on to something else in a second. The third hour was the hour, as described in the book of Acts, of the descent of the Holy Spirit on the apostles at Pentecost. Okay? So that's why the Troparion of the third hour talks about this, you know. Oh Lord, you have sent down your most Holy Spirit onto your apostles. Take him not from us, O good one, but renew him in us. No, but renew us who pray to you. This is the insertion also into the epiclesis of the Slavs. I have a video about that. Anyway, so then in the middle of the day is the sixth hour, where, according to New Testament accounts, this is the hour when our Lord Jesus Christ was crucified. So he's nailed to the cross at this hour, and the sixth hour service, or sext, thematizes the crucifixion, and one, remembers this. And then there's the ninth hour, which is approximately around the time of 3 p.m. We remember his death on the cross, when Jesus cried his last, breathed his last, cried out on the cross, also his forgiving of the penitent thief. All of this, and his death on the cross is thematized in the ninth hour service. So it's just, it's like when you say the creed, when you profess the creed and you're going through the basic story from beginning to end, of salvation history, you are internalizing, it is a prayer, the creed, and this kind of going through your day of reviewing what God has done for us and continues to work in each of our personal lives. It opens up to you differently every day, because you're inserting into your day, making very personal, these things that might seem truths of salvation history that might seem to be, from a galaxy far, far away, somehow with little to do with us, right? But the truths being revealed for how to be a responsible human being, able to respond to God on a daily basis, opens up to us, and in different ways throughout different stages of our lives, of course, right? Because we do continue to change, we continue to be formed. Not everything, happens in childhood, as people like to think today. We change and grow in very important ways as adults, which is why it's so important for us, also to continue to learn. And I think I think that the church, in a pastoral sense, needs not to lose sight. We as church need not to lose sight of adults and their need for, programs and accompaniment and, education, of course, not just the children. My friends, what are you saying here? Augustine Kirkman is, hello, Augustine. Would reading, chanting the Troparion Kontakion be acceptable? Yeah, sure. Everything's acceptable insofar as you're doing it at home, right? You don't have to sing it. Not everybody sings. I get that. I just thought, everybody also has we're all different characters. We have different, you know, I guess music might have a different place in everyone's life, not exactly the same. Um, C.R. Harris, hello. No worries about language of liturgy, Sister Vasa. It is my understanding that the Holy Spirit intercedes and comforts the hearts of the seeker and the faithful. Amen. C.R. Harris. Marcy is saying hugs to Cherry. Cherry is saying hugs to Marcy. Okay, you guys. Phil Harwell. Good morning, Sister Vasa and all you zillions. Hello, Phil. Hero Monk Michael is here. Slava Isusu Christu. Slava Vaveki. Or do we say Naveki? Hello, Hero Monk Michael. Your blessing. He's saying good morning or afternoon. Paula Nufri. Cherry Chapman. I have already said hello to you, lovely people. Marcy. Cynthia. Oh, Gregory Bedard is with us. Hello, Gregory. I think I just skipped a few things, a few comments. Okay, I have to go back. My friends, I missed some of you. Sorry. I am trying to say hello to everyone because I think everybody wants to reconnect today. Rebecca Haas, hello to you. Wade Gebara, hello, Wade. He's watching live from Williamston, Mass, because I am confined to my house, he says, usually at work and then watch later. Right. So a lot of us are confined. And that's just the way it is, right? I was just saying, if you weren't here at the beginning of the show, that I'm really appreciating the daily walk. I am appreciating that this has happened, at least the beginning of it, during Lent. And I think that it's just given me reason, even though it doesn't change my life all that much, except, to have, to have this awareness that even if you wanted to, travel somewhere, you can't. Of course, you don't feel very comfortable about losing that kind of freedom of movement. But, it is, there are some of these monastic aspects. You know that one of the monastic vows is to have stability of place, or stabilitas loci. And this stability of place that has been imposed on us, whether we like it or not, is like this monastic thing that I find curious in this whole, phenomenon of the epidemic. But I think that there's a reason why, like, the big wellness program that is Lent, right? Because Lent is there for our health, for our spiritual health, our physical health as well. I mean, the fact that it includes some of the elements of even, wouldn't you think that Lent would do the opposite from what it does with divine liturgy? Wouldn't you think that Lent would have like more divine liturgy than other times of year? But it doesn't. It has fewer than any other time of year. It cuts down, you know. It's interesting that which is very salvific and good for us sometimes has to be taken away from us. Here I'm coming to the silver lining, I think, of this whole coronavirus epidemic, that I think we're going to rediscover, reevaluate some of the things that we are missing now. You know what? My computer has a low battery. 1 second. I have to plug it in. Don't leave, everybody. Don't leave. I'll be right back. I have to get the plug. So what I'm saying, are you still here? Don't leave. 1 second. I'm thinking, if you can hear me, that we're going to cherish more, like church services. We're going to hopefully exit from this. I don't know how soon. Nobody knows, right? We're going to become better, not worse, if we embrace this without, from the one hand, like I said, not with denial and not approach it with disappointment. Neither of those are good for us, but just, walk through it, taking up our cross. We'll get better because think about the fact that, in the last has it been a decade already of social media, or is it less than that? The kind of not cherishing face-to-face contact, keeping people at bay by preferring to text, rather than to meet face-to-face, this kind of stuff. Maybe we're going to re-evaluate some of the ways in which we have been. Maybe not, maybe not, but I think we will really appreciate and value our face-to-face, uh, you know, socializing. And the thing about liturgy, uh, because it's good for us, it's sometimes good for us to be denied it so that we can rediscover it. Okay? That's my thought. That's the silver lining, I think, of all of this. And oh, I have noted here that some people were concerned. The opinion was expressed online. I saw some angry opinions also. It's an angry opinion. Everybody is really, you know, it would be to take down a notch some of our very angry opinions, even about the way various churches have dealt with the whole issue of communion distribution, during the coronavirus. Um, I understand that there are different, you know, opinions about this. I did the best I could last week to try to discuss the issue on this show in last week's Saturday Morning Live. If you missed it, check it out. You might find it interesting. Anyway, but because everybody is under some stress because of being unexpectedly confined, and maybe the people are losing their jobs. They are losing their jobs. A lot of these things are stressful. We don't have to add within our church community, this additional stress, I think. I'd like to say it carefully, but, you could have your opinion, make an adult decision about the way you are approaching or not, and let's maybe not, be angry about it. But with regard to fasting rules, the actual, the specific rules of abstinence, like dairy products, even fish, for Great Lent. Lent. In English, Lent, there's only one Lent. Do you realize that? It's tautological to say Great Lent, but that's how we say it. Anyway, the issue did arise, that someone's like mad. Oh, the church should officially say that we should be freed, or there should be like this dispensation from the fasting rules. Especially like there's weak people and the people who are vulnerable to the coronavirus and stuff. Now, I want to just point out that we already have that possibility for people to judge whether they are in a weak condition and can't keep the fasting rules. There is a canon. I'm going to show you the book as if you're not going to really make it out anyway this way. But the 69th canon of the Holy Apostles, again, I'm sorry I didn't prepare the text for you, but I have it here in the Greek and Slavonic. It says that, it proclaims that everyone's obliged, clergy, lay people, to keep the holy 40 days before Easter and also Wednesdays and Fridays, except, it says, except those who are who have the obstacle of physical ailment. And it's very general, except those who have the obstacle of physical ailment. Ektos imi diasthenian somatikin empodizito. This asthenian somatikin, if they have, that just means physical, like weakness, basically. So the possibilities for interpreting that are up to the conscience of the person who has a physical ailment. all right, or is physically weak. And you don't have to broadcast it, exactly your, capacity or lack thereof too fast. It's St. Paul says, we shouldn't be judging neither those who are abstaining or those who are eating. So make an adult decision, and do that. But it's not, the church is not, the tradition is not as stupid. There are things, in the tradition that are weird. But this whole fasting business uh, is not infantilizing us, my friends, I think that we are not called to be infants forever. uh all right, so I just want to put it out there. If it I didn't read to you the whole rule, but it's, if you want to write it down and look it up, you can look it up yourself. It's the Canon of the Holy Apostles, number 69. And usually somebody will have to crack a joke about the holy apostles not writing these canons. I'm aware of that. It's not what it means. Of the holy apostles doesn't mean that the apostles wrote it, just like, attributions in ancient texts express oftentimes a respect, or they're a way to express that the those who did compile these canons were successors to the apostles or are following their tradition. Okay? But nobody thought of it as being like, we project onto the time period that produced these texts. We project our understandings of attributions, it was to honor the holy apostles that these canons would be ascribed to them. Okay, uh, Rebecca, I always forget to like things. Thanks for the reminder. Um, Carolyn Dirksen is here with us. Hello, Carolyn. Um, the first called is here. Absence will make the heart grow fonder. The first called. Are you named Andrew? Is that why you're calling it? Is that why your handle is the first called? You know what, my friends? I need to get more matcha tea right now. And Cantrell. Nikki Cantrell, probably, right? She says, so happy to see you, sister. I'm happy to see you as well, Nikki. I usually see Nikki on the Patreon page, don't I? Or am I mistaken about that? Carolyn Dirksen. 2 miles is a long distance. Don't want to shout. Oh, 2 meters, right? Yeah, Carolyn, I know. No, it is hard. Watch the Governor Cuomo's press conference where well, now I think he's had another one, but he really covered a lot of ground, I found. And again, it's not a political thing for me, what I'm saying about him, because I actually have never seen him speak, or I was never really aware of him, this governor of New York. But I watched his press conference, and I really liked that he covered just how painful it is for him that he can't see his mother or hug her. I'm presuming he's Italian, just because I'm doing this racial profiling on the guy. He talks like, a mix of Al Pacino and somebody else. But anyway, he's you can tell that his mother, it's like an Italian man talking about his mother. Is that a really racist thing to say? I don't know. Give me a break. I think it's funny. I sometimes, for our psychological and spiritual health, um, you know, I'm going off on a tangent without telling you what he said, but I'm about to say something about a sense of humor through this time. All right. But what he said was how tough this suddenly, you're untouchable. And human beings, well, of course, it does depend on your vocation, but human beings need to be touched. You know that babies, they will die if they're not touched. Like, they did some kind of studies about this, but they have to be caressed, they have to be, held. They have to be talked to. And a baby will die if none of that happens, even if it's fed somehow, but not touched, not spoken to. So uh, we have in our church culture even, this business of kissing the hand of a priest, of kissing the holy icons, of being, you know, anointed, certain ministries to us, of being fed Holy Communion, um, of, at confession, of the priest covering our head with this epitrachilion and then blessing us on the head. These moments of touch, my beloved viewers, are important. And suddenly, not to have that is difficult. And he actually, well, Cuomo, of course, he didn't go through the sacramental side of touch, but he was saying how indeed this is, it's a lot to ask of us. So I think one just wants to realize that we're under this type of pressure right now, but that it will pass, of course. I was thinking in connection with that whole, the touch, the kissing of the priest's hand, that a lot of people don't know, but I didn't know either. But when we wouldn't be my show, right, if there wasn't at least one disruption with one of these sirens. It's actually like this year round, so don't be disturbed like it's because of the virus. Because, I mean, I don't know why we have that siren right there, but I think it's actually the police and not the ambulance. Anyway, it comes from, in Muslim cultures. I don't think it's a Muslim thing specifically. I'm not sure. But the Muslims do to the father, not to the mother, but to the father of a family in the Middle East, and here the refugees that that I know, some of these Muslim refugees. I have several of them actually, even have done like odd jobs for me now and then. Anyway, they the children, when they see the father, even adult children, will come up to him, kiss his hand, and go like this with their forehead to the father's hand. And I thought, oh, that's where we get that, when the kissing of a priest's hand. I think it's because it's recognizing him as a father. That's what it is. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that we go a little bit like softly with regard to other people. Try to be gentle with people, and obviously, I don't need to tell you this. I don't like to be preachy, but I have to realize that people are under a lot of stress right now, and expressing anger with, say, the priest's inability maybe to find an ideal solution to certain challenges of this time. Maybe you can wait it out in patience. Just do what you need to do, but we have to give each other a bit of a break, I think, and for us in our church issues to be divided at a time like this, I just don't think it's helpful. I want to give you a heads up that the Annunciation is coming up for New Calendar folks. All right. So if you have an icon of the Annunciation, that's going to be on Wednesday, but we will be having our weekday podcast. Check out, where is the link, sister? I am going to find the link. 1 second. I want to remind you, join us, because, but I know they probably have live streaming of services that you might be watching. But insofar as having reflections for the day, you can check out your possibility to listen into this podcast at this link. Join us. A lot of people are joining, and I would love for you to be there and not be alone, But anyway, we'll be discussing the Annunciation. It's on Wednesday, in case you didn't know, for New Calendar folks. I realized that, because I do have another beautiful cross. This was given to me by a priest in San Diego, Father Simeon, and I don't have an icon of the Annunciation, I realize, but it's here on this cross. So I'm going to put up this cross on Wednesday, even though the whole week is called the week of the veneration of the cross. So this one this cross will be up here, that we just put up. Those of you only joining us now, we had the bringing out of the cross out of a box, because that's just the way I'm going to do it. Well, I've already done it here, but we have rituals that we could do in our homes when we're not having liturgy. I, for one, have to say, insofar as the whole business goes of virtual translation, of liturgies, I understand, if because you see, like, there's a human side, you keep a connection with your priest or your beloved bishop, or with the Catholics, they can see the Pope doing like virtual stuff, and he's beloved, not by all of them, but anyway, that's the case with anyone, uh, anyone who's anyone who is a someone will have different opinions about them, probably, if they're especially if they're truthful. But anyway, I understand, they keep a connection by having that virtual translation, but I don't always understand, if you're not doing the service together with that, somehow doing it together, I don't really see just being like this spectator. I don't know. I haven't thought it through, but I don't really get watching, say, a translation of Divine Liturgy, for example, if I'm not there. I really don't, especially if you're not there at the same exact time. How are you participating? But even if you're, it's like sacramentally strange to me, that if you're not there, how you can participate. I prefer to think, I'm not insisting on this opinion. Glory be to God for what various parishes are doing. I'm not. It's not to criticize what they're doing. I'm not even aware, actually, because I haven't really watched anything. But uh, I'm gently suggesting that we do something ourselves, to actually contribute to the prayer, to the praise of God, to joining our voices, even if they're separated, to the praise of God that continues, right? So, Alexander Miloshevich, sorry if I mispronounced. Hello to you, Alexander. I hope you're well. Sarah Hodges. I think I said hello to you, Sarah, already, right? I do have to finish. I know this, my friends. Angeliki Goumenis. Greetings from Canada. Hello. Greetings, Angeliki. Welcome. Susan Yoder. Hello, Susan. Did I already say hi to you? All who find there is more time for reading highly recommend Eat, Fast, Feast, Jay Richards, and The Longevity Diet. Walter Longo. Fast reads, Science Behind Benefits to Our Immunity from Fasting. Thank you, Susan. Irina Parao is here. Life is life. It is what it is. Yes, it is what it is. And life is life. Indeed. The words of the... oh, forget it. I was going to say something irrelevant. Tasha is agreeing with Lynn. C.R. Harris is saying, yes, Sister Vasa, avoiding despair and maintaining hope. Yes, well, there's certainly no need to despair. 1 second, let me get more tea. I am finishing. I really am, but... oh, we have a lot more comments here. Professor Fez, Jill Perry, I haven't seen you guys yet. Terry Gillespie, I didn't see all of these celebrities amongst the zillions yet. Hello, everybody. Celebrity zillions. Darren Yeat. Darren, have I met you before? Now I don't know. Welcome. He's saying, Nicholas Gurem, I don't know, he put a lot of laugh emojis. And Nicola Grem, I don't know what exactly. Hello, anyway, Nicola. Anna Shipulina, I haven't said hello to you, have I yet? Hello, Anna. Professor Faz. Okay. Anyway, my friends. So I am gonna wrap this up right now. Just let me get more of this tea. You know, do you see? I put it in a blender the foam has almost gone down. It has two, um, sort of, it's a little more than 2 teaspoons, but that's like a heaping teaspoon of cocoa butter in it. And then I put it in the blender and some almond milk, as I've told you. All right. Remind me of what I was saying to you. I'm supposed to finish, right? I am. I'm just going to look at the final comments and then say goodbye to you, lovely people. I'll put together a better show for you next week, all right? I just wanted to reconnect with my beloved viewers. And remember, it's this much time. It's just a period of time that we have the epidemic. I really liked the Governor Cuomo's statement about that. He just, see, you don't know what this means, but it does have an end, has a beginning and an end, okay? So I want to go through this time with some benefit, to exit this time on the other end of it better, not worse, okay? All right. Temporary necessary changes to respond to an imminent crisis does not change tradition. Well, that's true, Hero Monk Michael. I agree with that. Tradition is a changeable thing, by the way. Tradition is not, it didn't fall down from heaven on Pentecost and then stay that way. I mean, tradition is that which is passed on, but it is passed on in different ways every generation. Nobody says that the mystical supper, or the Last Supper as it's called, is the same exact way, the way it was celebrated by the Lord, that's what the Divine Liturgy exactly looks like. It looks quite different. Does it change what the Lord, his commandment to do this in, remembrance of him? No, but it's quite different externally speaking. C.R. Harris. See, I'm coming late to your comments. Oh my, somebody's saying Allahu Akbar. What? Why are you with us if you're unhappy? FP Hades. Oh, and the name, your handle, Hades, is I guess appropriate right now. So, 1 second. It's very empowering, to delete and block someone just because you can. What is Terry Gillespie saying? Our church has been having live streaming, which is helpful. Oh, okay. Yeah, people are doing wonderful things, around amongst the different churches. I just haven't been, I've been quite busy doing this, the weekly podcast, and there's other stuff on my plate right now, but it's really wonderful that people are trying, that we have this blessing of the internet. It really is amazing. Jill Perry agrees with Hero Monk Michael. Rebecca is saying that this is beautiful. I think you mean the cross, right? Professor Fez says Sister Vasa is adorable. That's a funny word to use. Thanks, Professor Fez. The first called is saying technology can be used for good too. Yes, of course. It is being used for good, right? Shannon Lowe. Hello, Shannon. Jill Perry says this show is great. Thanks, Jill. Did you see that the late night show hosts were doing like from home versions of their show? And some of them are really adorable. Like Jimmy Fallon, it like makes a tent for his kids in his backyard. Now during the coronavirus, because in LA, I guess this is where these people live. Is that where they are? Jimmy Kimmel and his children, and they have these how they've been, trying to because they're staying at home. They're basically quarantined, I guess, or whatever. What is it called? Shelter in place policy out there in California. But anyway, they've been doing these shows from the home. Colbert did a few too, and it's interesting to see them at home, and it's very informal. And the kids are not in Colbert's case. I think his children are quite big already. But anyway, those who have the small children, it's quite funny regardless of what you think of their politics, you know. James Armstrong is saying, God bless you, Sister Vasa. Thank you so much, James. Okay, I am going to say goodbye, even though I hate to leave you people. But let's pray for one another, and, you know, let's minister to one another in the ways that we can, all right? And like I said, benefit from this rather than, you know, become worse. And Nikki is saying, LOL, appropriate, take sister and zillions. I'm off to tackle Saturday chores. Okay, yeah, I know, we do have to stop. Anyway, Andrea Agrippa, hello. Ms. Tenacious, Sharon Brown, Anastasia Jonas, hello to everyone that I haven't said hello to. I'm signing off. Have a blessed Saturday, and try to get some rest and take care of your spiritual and psychological health, my friends. And all this shall pass, as we all know. I'm saying goodbye, and a blessed Sunday of the cross to all of you. Bye, everybody.